Now let's take a look at NVIDIA going into earnings. And this is where I have fun, guys, because I get to play around with charts. Notice there's no trend lines on this chart to speak of. So let's just have some fun. What if we connect a parallel through a couple levels here? So let's do that right now. Let's take our trend line. I'm going to take this high right here, and let's put a line there. Let's stretch it out here and bring it up to this secondary high right here with a pierce right here. Now notice price is just about or into that level now. Now what I like to do is I say, okay, let's put that line in place. Now let's drop our parallel and see if there's anything that aligns that makes sense to give us a credence for this technical level. So what we do is we drop it down. And the first thing I noticed, which is pretty darn cool, is that you basically have this pivot and this pivot aligning with that parallel. So you have these pivots up here, right? And going all the way back to here, and then you have this pivot and this pivot. So now I'm like, okay, well, I kind of might be onto something here, but we're not 100% sure. Let's drop it down a little bit more. What if we drop it down here, and then I'm like, holy cow, this is some cool stuff now. Because now, look at this. Look at what we now have. Pivot to low pivot to low pivot there. So it starts to make you aware that this trend line here is significant as we continue to drop it down. Now, I haven't done it any further than this, but let's even see if we drop it down lower. Look at that. That's so freaking cool. All right. So now we just drop the parallel lower and look at the alignment. And this shows you, by the way, what's so cool about this and what I love about trading and charting is that it essentially reveals things like you look at this chart and you're like, wow, this is just a crazy chart. But there's actually a method here. It looks chaotic, but there's actually some form of normality or reasoning behind this. And what I mean by that is now look at this. Look at this area here, right to that. It's another parallel. Let's even take it a step further here. And again, I have no clue if we're going to find anything else, but what we can do is we can take this here, and we can drop it down. Well, again, look at that. Again, pivot right through all these bases. Look how it got above and it chopped right there before breaking up, right along those levels. And listen, I don't want to bore you guys with this. It like fascinates me, but again, my point is, look at that. That's pretty darn cool too. Wow. So I just got to keep going with this because look at that center point, and look at this little low right there. And then lastly and not least, let's take that away. If we drop this parallel down, you basically bring it into these lows right here, right? So anyways, my point is this, is that to me, this is a pivotal level. Now, does it guarantee that NVIDIA is going to stop here? No, it doesn't, right? But there's no kidding that this area here is somewhat significant on the chart. When it aligns that many times in parallels, you have to take it seriously as resistance. Now, could it break resistance? Yes, charts break resistance all the time, but it's a probability basis, and that's what we're going to be following here.